Hi folks, Keith Beardsley of the Beardsley Team, www.beardsleyteam.ca. Here today with part 2 of what makes up the front page of an offer or page 1 of an offer. When I first did the video, it was actually quite long, and I figured rather than have some of you falling asleep halfway through, much better to simply split the video in two. So part 1 looks at the top part of page 1. Part 1B, which is this part here, will look at the bottom part. Both parts equally important, but there is some crucial information in the bottom part of page 1. Enjoy the video, and if you have any questions, please get back to me. Be happy to answer them for you. For instance, if you look at it, at the bottom of the page, it's going to say irrevocable time. And this is something we'll get into a little bit more later on in another video. Irrevocable time simply means how much time have you given the seller to respond to you. Now, most people, if it's a reasonable market, are going to give 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that. If it's a very tight market, and I'm thinking some parts of the city of Ottawa right now, where there's bidding wars, that can shrink really fast. It might be 4 hours, 3 hours, agents trying to beat other agents into the punch. And we'll get into bidding wars and how that works and how you handle that later. Bidding wars, for most part, good for sellers. For buyers, well, not necessarily so good. You know, you're paying a lot, you're bidding up against people. Some people just get carried away. It's like going to an auction. So you got to be very, very careful with that. So irrevocable time, let's say you give the seller until noon tomorrow to respond to you. That is an exceptionally important time. You have to meet that time. If you go over time, that deal is technically dead. So unless both sides are willing to revive it, technically your offer is dead. The seller may accept your offer, in which case that's all good. Or the seller may decide, no, I'm going to counter your offer, come back with a different price, whatever the case might be. There's 101 reasons why a seller might decide they want to counter your offer. So if the seller comes back to you and says you have until whatever time, another 12 hours to respond, you have to get your answer into that seller within that time frame. Again, very, very important. You have to meet the deadlines. You can't miss it by 5 minutes, an hour, a day. You've got to answer within the time frame that you've been given. The other term you're going to see in there, and it's one that it's a little confusing because it's not one that we commonly use. Most people will refer to a closing date. On the offer, it's called a completion date. Same thing. And so what is the completion date or closing date? This is the day that you tell the seller in your offer that you want to move into that house. In other words, you want to take possession of that property on a certain day. This is a negotiated item. You might say, I want to do it October 15th. The seller might come back and say, no, October 15th doesn't work for me. I want October 30th. So it becomes a negotiated item. In some cases, because people have sold a home, say they've already sold one and now they're buying another one, they're locked into a certain date. You know, they've sold their house for October the 15th. They need a house for October the 15th. These are things that your agent can tell the other agent so that they understand why you can't change that October 15th date. So that's all it is. It's not overly complicated. It's laid out, and like I said, that's basically page 1. There's spots for initials and so on in that page, and then you get into the other pages and so on. There are no conditions on this page. Those conditions come later on in your Schedule A. So that's all it is. That's your offer. That's page 1. It's a simple process, but you have to understand that within that simple process, there are some things that you absolutely have to get right. Irrevocable, certainly one of them. So that's Keith Beardsley. We'll be doing other videos on parts of the offers, different sections and so on, so that you get a better understanding of it. But again, if you have any questions, please send us a note, 613-897-6839 or 613-552-0851, which is my cell number. You can call or text. Happy to answer your questions. So Keith Beardsley of the Beardsley Team with Century 21, wishing you a great day.